In this video, we will be talking about tessellations, which are also known as tiling of the plane or tilings of the plane. Here's the math definition. A tessellation of a flat surface is the tiling of a plane using one or more geometric shapes called tiles, with no overlaps and no gaps. In mathematics, tessellations can be generalized to higher dimensions and a variety of geometries. A periodic tiling has a repeating pattern. Let's talk a little bit about this idea of a plane. Now, this is not an aeroplane or something that we would look up into the sky and see. Let's talk about the math definition of a plane. A plane is a perfectly flat surface. So we're going to have to use our imaginations here. Like a pane of glass in a window is pretty flat, but if you looked at it through a microscope, you would still see ripples and indentations and so forth. So, or a mirror or any kind of a physical type of a flat surface isn't really a plane. So the plane in mathematics is perfectly flat. It also extends forever in all directions, and it has no width. We may ask ourselves, do they actually exist? I would say no. And the main reason is because how can how can we have some physical object that has no width? But this is maybe my imagination's limited. I don't know. Um, but in any case, for the most part, planes are an idea that we think about. Now, really, the idea of tessellations or tilings started with the ancient Sumerians about 4000 BC, and they used these tessellations quite a bit in their tiling type work in different religious places and things like this. I don't know for sure that this image dates back to the Sumerians, but in any case, it's something I found that is similar. Now, the definition of tessellation includes other geometries. And here are a couple of tessellations done by M.C. Escher, perhaps one of the most famous artists who used tessellations in his artwork. And these would be like a circular type tessellation. Quite remarkable, really. I really like the one on the right quite a bit. And tessellations have many applications. And if you start looking around in different places, you'll see them all over the place. Tile work is a common place where you'll see tessellations. Even wallpaper are places where we will see tessellations. Now, I've asked you to do a tessellation as an activity, and I decided to do one as well. So here's an example of my tessellation. And also that photograph, which I saved as a PDF file, but you can see it on my PowerPoint slide here. This is what I'm looking for you to turn in as your end product to show me what you came up with. And be creative, be artistic. It was actually quite a lot of fun to create this. Now I'll show you how to make your own tessellation. And let me show you what I have here to work with. I have a 3.5 by 5 card. I have a roll of Scotch tape. I have a ruler. I have a pencil. I have some scissors. And I have some 8.5 by 11 paper. And the size of this paper doesn't really matter. 8.5 by 11 is common. If you want to make a bigger one, that would be fun. But however you do yours is fine with me. Now the first thing I need to do is to cut a square out of this rectangle. Right now this is a 3.5 or a 3 by 5 cardstock, and I think I'm going to make a 2-inch by 2-inch square. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut 2 inches off of one side of this cardstock. And I'm just making a couple of marks here on either side at 2 inches. I'll draw a straight line. Of course, lines are always straight, so I'll draw a line. And now I'm going to cut along that line. So now I have a 3" by 2" card, rectangle, and I'll cut an inch off of one side to make it a 2" by 2" square. So now I have a 2" by 2" square. Now, your square doesn't have to be 2" by 2". It could be 3" by 3". It could be an inch by an inch. I think a smaller square might be a little bit harder to work with. So now, what I need to do is, the next step is to come up with some kind of a shape along one edge of my square. And the important thing is whatever I draw here, I want to keep it within these two corners. And I think this time I'm just going to do like a sawtooth kind of a pattern. And you can be really creative with this. I mean, there's the sky's the limit, really. I mean, you can do this in many, many different ways, but I think I'll just do something kind of like this. And one thing I thought of here as I was doing this is I need to translate this pattern from the top, the way I'm holding it, down here to the bottom. So I could do like each of these. I think I'll just cut each one of these triangles out as a separate piece and tape them to the other side. I could also try to keep them together with a little piece of the cardstock holding them together. But I think for the way I'm starting this one out, it might be better to do it this way. But I'm going to kind of be careful because I want to make sure that when I transfer these little triangles I've created, that one of them fell out, that each one that I cut gets translated straight across like that to the other side. So what I'm going to do is cut a little piece of, a strip of tape here, and I'll tape it down. The tape is not cooperating right now. All right. All right, that'll work. So I have piece tape on that side. I'm going to take my first triangle, carefully match it up on the other side. Take this other one in the middle, translate it to the other side. A little extra there, I'll trim that off. Well, that's pretty good. So now I have something that looks like that. And this tape's going to get in my way, so I'm going to just trim that excess tape out of the way, because what I'm creating is what we call the tile, and the tile is what creates the pattern. And so I need to be able to replicate this pattern throughout my whole tessellation. I've actually done a few of these as practice. It's kind of fun. I have to admit, I've been enjoying this. So I actually like to do crafts. So, all right. So I've got that now. Now I'm thinking, okay, I want to do something on this other side as well, another pattern. Um, I'm kind of going with the sawtooth looking thing. So I'm tempted to do that again. Actually, I think I'm going to go ahead just for the heck of it and repeat my sawtooth pattern. And like I said, there's a lot of different ways that this can be done, and you can get creative. And if you enjoy this kind of stuff, make more than one. Make as many as you want. Um, when I was practicing earlier, my son made one, so we were kind of having fun with it. All right, I think this will work. Okay. I don't want to get carried away with too much detail. I mean, this is an example. I'm just kind of showing you how to do it right now. So, and again, I want to be careful that I put these triangles back on the other side straight across. So I end up, because the key is I want to have that symmetry on both sides. So I don't really know how this is going to work out or turn out, but this is what I have so far. Okay, so I'm going to take another piece of tape. These other little pieces are going to get taped to the other side. Okay, whoop, got a little wrinkle in that. There we go. And so let's see which piece went where. I think I'm going to double check. So that piece came out of there, so I'll translate it straight across to the other side. And it looks like that piece came out of there, of the middle. And this is the last piece. And again, I'm just going to trim away that excess tape. All right, that looks pretty good. So this is what I ended up with for my tile. And now I'm going to look at this and think, okay, how do I want to orient this as I replicate this pattern across my tessellation or across my plane? I mean, I could do it straight across that way. I could do it at an angle. Got this kind of weird looking piece here. Where's that going to fit in? So I'm kind of thinking that through, and I'm going to get out my sheet of paper here. And like I said, I mean, you can start out anywhere you want in the sheet of paper. And when I did this one earlier that I showed in the earlier, this tessellation, I just decided that I think this is actually how I meant for it to go. I thought, this is going to be kind of reminding me of birds or something. So I thought I'll have it kind of at an angle. So I thought that would look good with that particular pattern. And incidentally, on that one I did earlier, I did a follow-up on it. When I was looking at this, I thought, oh, you know, I don't like how this sharp point looks necessarily. And so I modified my tile I used for that one. Somewhere, I thought I had it here. Ah, here we go. So I modified the tile for that one, and I just I I just rounded these sides off and then translated those straight down to to make that more of a rounded curve, and I ended up with something like this. So again, you can be very creative, and I don't know why I just thought, okay, this bird has a little red streak on the top of his head, and I don't know, I might do more with this. So in any case, it's fun. I'm enjoying it. Like I said, I like doing arts and crafts kind of stuff anyway. So now I have this set up, and what should I do? I mean, I can do all kinds of things. This time I think I'm going to start with the tile, the first tile right in the middle of the page. And actually, I kind of, for whatever reason, I kind of like it like this. I like it like this. So I'm going to start, I'm going to start with my tile pointing in that direction. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pencil and I'm just going to trace the outline of the tile onto my paper. It takes a few minutes. And again, the more intricate we make our pattern here, or our master tile, the more difficult and time consuming it's going to be, but also possibly the more interesting it's going to be. And I don't know if you like to do this kind of thing with your family and friends, but I always think it's really great when my students bring these kinds of activities to their families or their friends and participate together. Really, I love hearing that when students write me and say, hey, you know, I did this with my kids or whatever. So feel free to work with your friends or show them what you're up to. Okay. So if you don't get it, when you trace it, if you might sometimes miss a few pieces. So anyway, there's my first tracing, or my first tile. So now I need to line this up. And basically what we do is we shift it and line it up with the other side, or one of the other sides. And you can shift it straight across. And so let's see, get that lined up, and whoop. I'm kind of rushing this because I don't want my video to be like, I don't want this video to be like 45 minutes. The point here is just to show you how to do it, not necessarily to create a full-on tessellation. So I am being a little bit sloppier than I would normally be, again, in the interest of time. But basically, so now I lined it up with this other side and I traced it again. And so then I would translate it again in a different direction. So maybe I'll do this one up here next. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to just continue to replicate that pattern. Now, one of the things I'm going to admit to you right now is that I'm not crazy about this pattern I'm doing right now. And I mean, to get full credit on the assignment, you just have to do one and turn it in. But if you're like me and I don't know, you want it to look good, feel free to just stop and start over. So that's kind of where I'm heading with this now. And I don't know if I like this one really or not. So if I decide I don't like it, then I will stop and I'll cut out a new tile and start over. I like the one with the birds a lot better than this one, or the ones I think that look like birds a lot better than this one. So I'm going to do one more tile here, and then I'm going to scrap this one. But I hope this at least gives you an idea of how to create one. So I could keep going with that and finish my tessellation if I wanted to, but I don't know. Or I can just put it on the back burner and say, maybe I'll do it someday, or finish it. But I don't think I like that one too much. But just for fun, I thought since I have it sitting here, I'll show you the one my son was working on. This is what he was working on, and he's a long way from being finished yet. He's only 10 years old, so but he was definitely having fun. I know when he's having fun because he starts singing. He likes to sing when he draws. So, any case, have fun with your family. Have fun with your friends. I hope you enjoyed this assignment. And until the next video, have a nice day.